Yeah, live stream collapsed. I'm not sure why. I was suddenly offline. No idea why. Okay. Yeah, the other live stream collapsed. I'm not sure why. So I'm just back. New live stream. I didn't get the option to restart the live stream. I sometimes get that, but this time I didn't. I'm not sure why. But yeah, I'm in another stream now. Same, just continuing where we left off. Yeah, somehow the other stream dropped. Reception might be bad here. I don't know. So, okay, A14. Flying Dragon. Crossed with Cantora. 1433. And Zizala. Zizala, great follow-up hybrid of Pink Stripes, something like that. Hey guys, I'm back. Somehow everything went offline here. I'm not sure why. Oops. But I'm back. So yeah, new live stream. Maybe another half an hour or so. But yeah, connection seems to be a little bit flaky. So I might not make it. We'll see how it goes with the reception here. It's usually great from that smartphone, but I don't know. Might be the weather. So yeah, I want to continue checking the seedlings that we've sown out a few days ago. Just want to look for want to get the first seedlings and all. So yeah, I would get some and bring them here, and we would check them out together. Just checking for the first seedlings that we have. It's possible that there's a function to continue a stream. I would try to experiment with that a little bit over the next months. The more I get used to that stream thing, the more I know how if I can continue a stream when the connection dropped. I feel like that should be an option, you know. I mean, but I didn't see it when I just came online. So yeah, here's some of the seedlings where we started germination. Yeah, looking great. You can see that the wood oven brought up a lot of seedlings. That is great. I didn't expect it to be that many. So yeah, our inducing of germination with just blunt heat, it works. The oven, you cannot really regulate that kind of wood oven very well, so it's just hot. And yeah, that worked very well here. So I'm happy. These will go under the plant lamp right away, because if they are this size and they have come up, there's no reason to leave them in the heat for much longer. So let's put that aside. Over here, there are others. Also, a lot of them coming up. Also, Uwe seeds, I think these are pretty good. They have a great germination rate. He just cleans them very well. And whether or not you clean your seeds well plays a role in how they come up. It's not something that is reliable, but clean seeds often germinate better. So yeah, next one, also full of seedlings. Check this out. So this is just a few, maybe couple of weeks after sowing out, you know. Yeah, the other stream dropped. I'm not sure why. Reception was suddenly completely gone. I couldn't even continue with the old stream. I would have loved to be in the old stream because it already had all that chat, you know, but unfortunately that wasn't working. Maybe I'll figure it out next time. If the reception drops again, I'll try to just continue with the stream. I think it should be able to do that, you know. Yeah, but I'm going through the older containers, and they look great. They will go under the plant lamp now. I'm filling the space more and more under the plant lamp. So at some point we might have to stop sowing out because there are too many seedlings. But for now it works. So yeah, and welcome to everyone who has followed us from the other stream. I'm not sure why that happens. I'm just clicking the buttons, and every now and then reception is gone. But yeah, a lot of seedlings here too, and these are just a few days old. At that age you need to be careful. Just put them under the plant lamp and they will be all right. But plant lamp shouldn't be too close, shouldn't be too hot. They will still stay in the closed bag for at least 3-4 months. So for now they will stay like that. But pretty much everything that was right in front of the oven has started coming up first. Makes a lot of sense, of course, but yeah. Let's see. Also a few, not as many as in the other one, but there are also some. That's okay. I finally managed to start the fire. It was a cold night, and I'm not having a bathroom window. It's pretty basic, you know, like when you are living in an abandoned house. That's how it felt to sleep there tonight. When you go into the bathroom, you need a jacket. You need a really warm jacket to go into the bathroom at night. So yeah, it was pretty basic. I really hope I can get that window fixed because it's really not fun. So yeah, let's get some more seedlings. I really want to get the seedlings away from the oven the moment they have come up. The moment something has germinated, I want it away from the heat, because then it's alive. If you have a seed corn that you are just trying to induce germination, it isn't so difficult, you know, because they can take more heat. But the moment you have a tiny seedling, the heat plays a big part and can be too much already very, very fast. Okay, there's nothing in here. These have been a little bit further away. So the seedlings haven't come up in the same amount. Here we have 1 or 2 seedlings, and here we have 1 or 2 seedlings, and here we have 1 or 2 seedlings. But it's not enough to take them away from the heat now. Because if I would take them away from the heat now, I saw that there's germination inside the bag, but it's just too early. You know, if I move it away now, the heat isn't there to induce germination for some of the others. You know, they just you at some point when you see the first ones are coming up, you need to have patience, leave it at the heat source a little bit longer, and then maybe another week after that, you have most of the seedlings that had the potential to come up. They have come up, and at that point, you move them away. When you look into the seedling bag and you see a fair amount of seedling, that's roughly corresponds to how many seeds you put in there. You know, you don't want to move it away from the heat too early, because otherwise you suddenly do not meet the right temperature, and the only seedlings that you have will stay there, but the other seeds won't come up, you know, or will come up like a year later when the conditions are worse. So let's put these here. Okay, let's see. Brought a few more to check. Okay, so here's one where a lot of seedlings have come up. Using this one. This is approximately the number of seedlings where I feel like, okay, now they can go under the lamp. If I don't have like this many seedlings, I'm really careful about moving them away, because it's not worth the time and space that it needs, you know. It depends on what kind of cross it is, but when you're sowing out, then it blocks the space of a whole container. And if you only have one weak seedling in a bag, it might not be worth getting the spot under the lamp, you know. They all compete for space. That's just how it is. Here, you see. Same here. These are cactus seedlings that are maybe a week old at the most. This is the first stage that they have. You sprinkle the seeds on top of the soil, and then they will look like this when they have come up. They are very tiny. You can lose them because of too much heat, not enough heat, too much water, not enough water, all that stuff. Hey Dave, my reception was bad too. This is the second stream that I started, you know. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why the reception went down like that. Hey Robert, good morning. Yes, I think I send them out later, you know. At this point, I'm not sending them out yet, because in the beginning, let's say in the first year, cactus seedlings like to grow a little crowded. They give each other a little bit of a solid hold on the soil. It's just, and having a few cactus seedlings besides each other in the beginning, it just promotes general health. I don't know what it is about them, but they protect each other. Sometimes it can make sense to leave them together until they are a little bit bigger. Thinning them out is something that you would do after maybe 6 months. In the first 3 months, I would not thin them out. Or, I mean, you could if you really want to take the seedlings out and don't want to continue to grow them, you know, just creating space. But transplanting at that young age can be risky. You can lose them because the root is basically just a little tiny thing that can break off at any time. I wouldn't thin out in the beginning unless you really have to. And sometimes you need to do something when you have a bag full of seedlings and you realize that they lie around, that they don't have a firm connection to the ground. In such a case, you would get yourself a little piece of like plastic or a little piece of wood and transplant the seedlings carefully. And in that, when you do that, you could transplant them also in another medium, in another bag, but it's something that is very, very risky in the beginning and a lot safer when they are maybe a year old. Most people wait a little bit longer. But yeah, everything can be done if you are careful enough. So yeah, we have germination in so many bags. Unfortunately, we've just started a lot of them not a long time ago, so they might need another week or so. But I already have 2, 4, 6, 8 that will go under the lamp where we already have enough seedlings, so that's great. So let me bring these to the oven again, and then I'll bring a few more that I want to look through to check on them, you know. So let me see. Yeah, no, I think the others need more time. The others are just not ready. They need more time. They will definitely need another week, 7 to 10 days. And yeah, then we will check them again, and hopefully they will be as full as the others that we just checked. Today I've sown out 5 more, and everything's pretty full already. So yeah. But we already have quite maybe 20 or 25 bags of seedlings under the lamp, and I will get some from those too. Hey Robert, do those electric greenhouse heaters help with the condensation? Yes, they do, and it's just logical. If you live in a house that isn't properly heated, that is something that I learned when I was a young man, when I couldn't afford to pay the heat. If you don't have the heat on, you see the condensation on the windows. I've lived in very cold houses for a while, and you always have that condensation that collects on the window. But the moment you start heating properly, the air humidity goes away. The humidity that you would usually have at the window, that you would see at the window, it disappears. It just evaporates. So yeah, of course, the more heat you have, the warmer the heater is, the less humidity, the less condensation you have. But it's sometimes not financially feasible to heat the greenhouse until you have no more condensation, you know. But you could do it. I mean, there are people who grow cacti. They often grow pilosoceroids, like those Brazilian cacti, and they need warmer temperatures. And when they grow them, they have them at 20, 25 degrees all year round. So in such a greenhouse, you have a lot less condensation. Here's a question. When I cross-pollinate and I pollinate a flower with pollen, how long before I see the new hybrid? Well, so let's say we make a cross this year. We made a lot of crosses this year, pollinated them, and then the fruit ripens throughout summer, like 2025. In summer, I made crosses that ripened for 2.5 months, between 2 and 2.5. And when I harvest them, then I usually sow the seeds out in winter, like what we're doing now. And from that time on, a good 5 to 7 years until they flower, until you see the flower. So I don't know, 2032, maybe something like that, you know. 5, 7 years. 7 years is a good number when you don't live in a country that has the perfect climate, like really perfect. There's a few places that are great for cacti. It's Australia. Some states in Australia are great. California can be great, you know, but they also get like frost every now and then, surprising frost. But in the warmer parts, that can be great for cacti. And there they flower a little bit earlier, maybe 5 years, but overall 7 years is a decent number for one of these trichocereus. They need longer, and you can decrease the time by bringing in maybe a father that flowers earlier, like an Echinopsis, like a Lubivia. They flower after 2 or 3 years. So if you bring these in, you might be able to bring the time down to maybe 3 to 5 years. But very often the larger plants also need longer to flower. So I hope that answers the question. I'm starting to see some really good hybrids now that I made in 2017, 2018. The next years will be interesting because a lot of plants are flowering right now. I've just seen a friend of mine post a flowering plant from 2019 today. So 6 years. That was pretty fast, and it's only this big, so that one flowers pretty early. I'm looking forward to it. On the first look, it appeared like the flower might be white, but I'm not sure. I wasn't sure, you know. The body looked interesting. Was a very interesting cross in regards to the body, because the plant didn't really look like any of the both parents, like something in between, you know. And that's where it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, as a cactus breeder, you gotta have patience. I mean, I don't have patience, but I'm forced to, you know. I hate it. I really hate it. I would love to see the flowers in the next year, or maybe 2 years afterwards, but it's just, you just have to have this long-term commitment to the craft, to be there, to see it out, because otherwise it's not only done by sowing them out. If you are like me, I'm a person, my mental health fluctuates. So I sow out something, and then at some point after 3-4 years I get in trouble because I have maybe a depressive phase. And you need to be very careful when you're growing stuff long term, because you need to be present at any phase, every time, from the beginning, from the first weeks of growing them. You need to check on them. And from the replanting and singling them out and making sure that you respect them long term, you know, you have to be there every year. And that makes it a difficult kind of thing sometimes. You just gotta be committed to the craft, and it's not easy. Also for me. Hey, good morning, mate. If I overwinter my TBM in the greenhouse or inside, I have it in the greenhouse. And I have most of my plants in the greenhouse, at least the plants that I want to flower. The plants that I have in the house, in the cellar, that are plants that I want to give away, but haven't had time to either to unpot them. You know, when you're giving something away, you need to check everything. You need to check the roots. And this year it was so busy that I moved a few plants in the cellar, but most of the plants that I have that I want to flower the next year are in the greenhouse. And that TBM, I just gave it a very sunny spot, because I'm trying to push that thing. I want to see it flower. If I don't get it to flower, then it is a good sign that it will not flower unless I have a revert or something like that, you know. Right now, what I have is the long form, and I'm pushing it now. I've given it a full sunspot for the first time. I always kind of neglected it a little bit, because that hybrid, I already knew that there are problems getting it to flower, you know, so I wasn't really pushing it. I wasn't really trying, because I already know that it's hard to get it to flower. So I kind of moved it aside, you know. But in the last 2 years, I really got, I don't know, I felt like maybe we can do it, you know, maybe we can really do it on the channel. So I started repotting it. I repotted it maybe 2 years ago, and now it's in a full sun spot. It's been fertilized more often now. Maybe we can get it to flower. We will see. And if not, it also tells us something. It tells us that maybe we need a reword. Sometimes a reword is what's needed, because if you think about it, that species, the TBM pre-jazzy, that species, it often flowers from the upper part, like very close to the apex, at the very tip. And if you have a crest or a monstrous growth, it often replicates a certain kind of growth pattern, a certain kind of cell growth that continues to produce this unusual growth, you know? And when it does that, it might not produce the same kind of growth that often produces the flower on a classic Brijesi, on the classic growth. Because when you look at these different species, they have different places where the flower emerges from. Sometimes it's up from the apex, sometimes it's all the way down to the bottom. And the way Brijesi flowers, it's often at the top, at the very tip. I mean, if it's full of flowers, it also goes downwards, you know, but it prioritizes the kind of growth that is at the very tip. And that is the kind of growth that you might not have on that TBM, because it's, like I said, it continues to replicate a certain kind of mutant growth, like a crest. I think a crest is a certain type of growth that slightly differs from the regular one. You know, it might not be able to get the normal flowers out unless there's a lucky coincidence, or you have a revert that continues to grow, and then you have maybe that one side arm that has the revert, and there it could flower. And I think if I've like the photos that I've seen of the flowering TBMs, and I'm not 100% sold that it's the real clone and not something that is also another seed grown TBM, you know, another one. But the ones that I have seen, it looked like it might be flowering from reverted growth. So yeah, I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it. Maybe we can do it, but if Miss Plant couldn't get it to flower in his kind of setting, I'm already having a bad feeling, because he has a good climate for flowering, and he knows how to get stuff to flower, you know. And I've seen, like, he once posted like that April Fool's joke where he posted a photo of a flowering TBM, and that was that was already a sign that it doesn't really flower well, you know. There's a problem with it, whatever it may be. So yeah, I want to put a piece of wood on the fire. I'm back in 20 seconds. Give me a second, you know. Gotta make sure that the fire doesn't go out. I don't want to sit in the cold. I appreciate having the wood oven on right now with the hole that I have in my bathroom window. It's like I'm living somewhere in the projects. So I hope that I can get my window back up sometime soon. We will be working on that in the next week, beginning next week, and maybe we can reattach that window that fell down. I tried to reattach the window. Like I saw that it is kind of crooked, so I tried to, and it's one of these that you can open up fully outwards and close it, you know. So I tried to kind of get it straightened out, and that moment it fell. I kind of caught it, so the window didn't fall down the house, but I need to find a way to get it back up. And it's a big window. Replacing it will probably cost me $2,000 or something like that, $2,000. I don't have that kind of money, so I tried to fix it. We have to, because otherwise the bathroom will stay like that for a while. So yeah, I think we will continue to check on the bigger seedlings, because now I have shown you the small ones. These are maybe a few days old and to a week. And now we will take the older ones that have been under the plant lamp for maybe 3 weeks. So let me get those, and then we will go through them. I want to show you how they look in comparison to the small ones. Okay. So I brought a few of the seedlings that are already under the plant lamp for a while. Yeah, I mean, someone writing that they wish they had a wood oven. It is the best investment that I did personally in my house. And you know, when like I'm heating the house with heating oil, like this is a very old house. The heating is very old. If the heater breaks on me, I'm not sure what I will do. And when you heat with oil, you need to order, like where I live, I need to transport that tube, that oil tube, up to the house, and it's like 60 stairs, whatever, and you need to pull that tube up to the house, and you don't do that for just a little bit. When you order heating oil where I live, you need at least 2,000, $2,000 to pay for the heating for a year. And if that runs out, if that heating oil runs out, it can take you 2 weeks until you have something else. And with that wood oven, you don't have that. If you have a wood oven, you just need a little bit of wood and you have a warm place. That is why I love that so much. You don't always have $2,000 to pay for a new delivery of heating oil, but you can buy a little bit of wood here and there if you have cold, and it produces this nice, super hot heat that is really great to have. I really love it. It was one of the best investments that I ever did. So I'm very happy about it too. So yeah, these are seedlings that are a little bit older. So over here you can see the development cycle, like in between, in comparison to the younger ones. Nice putting them beside each other. So in my left, this one here, these are just a few, maybe like 10 days old, and on the right, maybe a month old. So you can see how they have grown within a few weeks. And this is because they are under the lamp, but they would have also grown if not. You don't need a plant lamp to grow cactus seedlings. It just helps you a little bit to speed things up. It kind of helps you to get them through the most difficult phase early on. But you don't need it. So yeah, also I wanted to say welcome to everyone who has been with me yesterday. Yesterday we had a very emotional stream, and yeah, I just wanted to comment on that again. Look, that's just how I am, the kind of person that I am. I consider myself having a lot of emotional intelligence is my strength. And sometimes, when I've been going through a rough patch lately, lost a lot of people in my life, and it has made me the man I am today, in both good and bad. My nerves aren't so good anymore, but I also gained a lot of experience, like life experience. It has made me a better man long term, and I don't believe that in order to be strong, you have to always be that stoic kind of guy that doesn't show any feelings. I mean, men have feelings too, and I know that society often kind of tells us otherwise. They kind of portray men as those like creatures of I don't know, like raw energy, and I don't know what they expect from us. They portray it in a bad way when men show emotion, and I don't believe in that. I believe in people showing, in men having feelings too, and showing them, being able to express them. I think it's a new generation of men. I mean, I've seen that when I grew up at home. Like, I grew up without a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to say love, but I grew up in a kind of cold environment, and it wasn't good. I wouldn't want to do it with my kids. I wouldn't want my kids to grow up like that. So I I always try to be different, you know. And yeah, every now and then when I talk about stuff like loss, or look what I went through with Snoopy in 2023, that was some of the worst things I experienced. And every now and then I get these moments when it catches up with me. It's like it's that PTSD that gets triggered and comes back, and it's just there. I can't really turn it on and off, but it's also why I'm able to put out work that sometimes connects with people, you know, because I just am that kind of person. So yeah, this one is a newer one, but yeah, I really don't want to change. So I will always comment on stuff that moves me personally, but because it is what gets me out of bed in the morning. I feel like I'm here I'm known as a cactus breeder and all that, but I'm also, what I enjoy a lot is also having, you know, a lot of my friends. I try to help, you know, and sometimes when people see that others feel the same, sometimes how could you look at the world right now and not be sad every now and then, and not feel like you can't take it anymore, you know, like these feelings of, I don't know, where it gets overwhelming, you know, that kind of overwhelming sense of dread. How could you not have it at this time, you know? So yeah, in my videos that comes through every now and then too. So yeah, hey Kami is joining us, and she's a little bit bothered. I don't know, she's just not, she wasn't happy with the food that I made her. I gave her 3 different kinds of food, and she didn't want any of them. So we'll see. I was out with her, but it was too cold. The weather's too cold outside. I want to buy her like a little jacket, and yeah, but I wasn't able to get one yet. I want to do that soon. So yeah, here are more seedlings, and these also are between 2 and 3 weeks old, but don't have a lot of spines yet. These are in between. I suspect I've just moved them under the lamp. There are already 2 generations of seedlings under the lamp. One that germinated first, and the other that germinated later. So yeah, same here. Oh, and see, there we have a few seedlings, and there's a few lying there over here. These in the front, and we need to change that, because otherwise they would start to rot. If the whole cactus seedling touches the ground, it's not a good thing. At some point they will get infected. So I try to find with the tip of a pencil, something like that. I try to get them in further into the ground to get them back up again. The way this looks, might as well Kami having slept on the seedlings. That has happened before. I can see that happening again every time. So yeah, every now and then I find seedlings that are flat, and then that's sometimes when the cat has slept on them. It happens. So yeah, and next week we will try to fix the window. I'm really anxious to get it done. I had a chat with my father, and my father said, you know, because I patched it up with styrofoam, and styrofoam is the worst. I gotta say it. I will never get styrofoam into my house again. It is the last time that I will have styrofoam in my house. I declare war on styrofoam. It is the worst. Because I had that hole in the window from the missing bathroom window, and I had to patch it up. So I tried to get a plate just to close it of styrofoam, try to have it cut into the right dimensions, and they couldn't do it. So they gave me two pieces that I could combine, but I had to cut it. I had to cut it to the right size. And when I cut it, it was like, you know, that movie where they the Wizard of Oz that they filmed with asbestos, you know, where you see the old photos and videos and all, and they are all surrounded by fake snow that is actually asbestos. That's how I felt with the styrofoam, because it was everywhere. There was no place in the house where there was no styrofoam. I walked through the house and it was in every room. So what, and you know, that kind of stuff, I thought about doing it outside, but then I started doing it, cutting it, and I thought, you know, all that stuff will go into nature. All that styrofoam, the microplastics that they are talking about, that's the kind of microplastics that they are talking about. So I moved it back into the house. And when I was back in the house, there was styrofoam everywhere. So yeah, I now have it closed up, cut together with styrofoam. And my father said to me, you know what? You did that great. Maybe you can wait until next spring, until we put up the window. And I said, no, absolutely not. I have my bathroom is like freezing. It's like Siberia. So yeah. So next week we will try to fix the window, and that's when the styrofoam will come down again. But I'm really not a fan of all that plastic styrofoam kind of stuff, because when you cut it, you know why it's so bad. You know, you will never get rid of that stuff again. It's like glitter. When you have glitter in the room, it will never go away again. And the same is with this styrofoam stuff. Okay. So yeah, we have a surprising amount of seedlings that we've sown out in the last weeks. We have been very busy. We will have an army of seedlings very soon over winter that we will check on. This one's still fresh. So let me see if I find a few more seedlings that we can check from under the lamp. I want to show you that the development cycle of these seedlings. Okay, got a few more. Okay, so let's see. There are some more spines in here. Hey Dave. Yeah, I don't know. Today my reception was like that too. I don't know why. Maybe some kind of big network is having issues. Thank you very much, Grits. I appreciate it. You know, I appreciate it. Yeah, so here the seedlings. These are the oldest, among the oldest seedlings that we've sown out on the video on the channel. If you want to see when we sown them out, you can go back to the videos that I filmed. At that time, we were doing the sowing out stuff on video, but it's also not a bad thing to do it on stream, because I don't have to upload it all the time, and it allows for easier for questions to be a little bit more interactive. So yeah, these already have little spines, and maybe 3 weeks old, 3 to 4 weeks. I'm not sure when we did that, but it isn't very long ago. They are still very young, but they are already, because we had them under the lamp, they are already at a size where it's more likely that you get them to adulthood than not. If you don't do any mistakes at that size, you've already did a lot of things right. Do you use sterilized soil for sowing cacti? I do not. And the reason is this. For one, it is very hard to fully sterilize soil. Sterilization, you would have to do it 2 hours, like in an autoclave, putting the soil in pressure for 2 hours or so, and then you get a sterilized medium. So you go through all that work to sterilize the medium, but the moment you drop in the seeds, the sterilization is gone, because you cannot sterilize the seeds, because the seeds are kind of alive, you know. If you would put these in under pressure in an attempt to sterilize them, they would become unviable. You can use kind of chemicals in like a pesticide, like some kind of like antibiotics kind of thing, fungicide, something like that. You can include that, but very often the moment you sow out, the process of sterilization has been wasted, because you introduced pathogens with the seeds. That is the main, and the water too. Again, you would also have to cook the water for 2 hours, you know. And what can make sense is pasteurization, like using like boiling water to get the soil to a point where it doesn't have like insect eggs in it, that kind of stuff, larvae. Every now and then you have slugs in the soil, you have little insects that can lay their eggs in the soil, or maybe spores that can be in the soil, you know. So sterilization is a little bit too much, but pasteurization with cooking water can already kind of help you a little bit. But again, you can't do it with the seeds. So the moment you bring in the seeds, you introduce most of the pathogens. In a container, in a closed container like that, most of the pathogens always come from the seeds, because they've been surrounded by fruit matter, by all kinds of like sugar, and insects have been added sometimes, you know. It's just how it is. There's pathogens everywhere, and the seeds, you will have to, the better you clean them, the better they will germinate very often. Yeah, beneficial fungus in the soil can work. I know a lot of people who use living soil. I'm personally not that kind of grower, because I always, like, I don't know, I tried not having a too big compost bin, because I'm living in the forest here, and animals from the forest have been raiding it all the time. Like every morning I found stuff pulled out of the compost bin, dragged throughout the garden. We have all these animals here, like wild boar, deer, badgers, foxes, and all these forest animals like raccoons, and they just always took apart the compost bin. So I moved away from that a little bit, but I know a lot of breeders that work with living soil. It can be a great way. I mean, cacti, they can thrive in organic soil too. It always depends on your climate. You know, if you have a climate where it rains 3 months in the summer, then the organic soil will be bad for them, or it will be too much, because the constant rain will just cause them to rot. But if you are living in a country with a lot of heat, a living soil, a very organic soil, can be exactly what you need in that climate. You know, every breeder needs to make the soil according to the climate that they have. You look at whatever problems you have, like if your seedlings don't get enough humidity very often in summer, then going with a more organic soil can be the solution. And if you have too much problems with fungal infection, then a more organic approach can make sense. So yeah, it really, and that is why a lot of people, like, they give their recommendation for soil, you know, but they recommend a medium based on the experiences they have in their very own climate, and everyone has a different climate, you know. Even from state to state in Australia, the climate can be different, and that means you when you recommend the soil, it might be completely unusable for someone in another state or another country. We always need to look at the problems that we have and build the soil with that in mind. I hope this helps. Yeah, so let's see what's going on here. We have a lot of seedlings in here, but they are still very young. Also, just at the point where they are starting to grow. These here, maybe 2.5 weeks. We have at least 2 generations of seedlings because we're sowing out in every episode. So there's a lot of different kind of sizes. This is surprising. There are no seedlings in this one. But it was under the lamp. Maybe we need to put that on the oven. Worm castings. Yeah, I've heard that too. A lot of people do that. I mean, the way I grow cacti, I often have like earthworms in the soil. They just happen to get in there, because every pot has little holes, little drainage holes at the bottom, and yeah, we just have that. It just happens. They come up, and you can't avoid it, you know. So I have that too, and I don't feel like it hurts the plants. It might hurt them at some point when all the food is gone in that container, if you have them in a closed bag. But if you have them with connection to the outside, they usually leave when the soil is no longer edible for them, you know. So yeah, so let me see if I can find a few more seedlings, and these will go under the lamp again. I want these back under the lamp now, so we can inspect them again in 2 weeks. Okay. Have a few more. And we will go through these, and maybe then 10 minutes or so. Then we're ending the stream. If you have questions, let me know now. Because this is the second stream that I've been in today. The other one kind of collapsed after 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So yeah, that's why we're here now. And over here you can see the seedlings that have the first set of spines, and they are really spiny. I'm not sure if it shows in the video, but these are pretty decent. These look great. When seedlings already have spines very early on, that's a good sign. That's a sign that they just grow naturally, that they react to the lamp, because they get all that light, and they grow the spines as a mechanism to shield against the light, you know, to shield against the sun. I think that is the main reason for these cactus spines, apart from maybe protection against animals that eat them. But apart from that factor, like keeping animals away and keeping people away, it is also to shield against the sun. Because you see that with species that grow in very, very sunny places, like Bolivia, you know, you have Bolivian species. They have long spines, and when the sun gets too strong, they grow very sturdy spines, very strong spines, and it just shields the plant from the sunlight, you know. So yeah, these look great too. So far, we've barely lost a seedling. I mean, of course, we had containers where they didn't come up, but once they are growing, they're looking great and healthy. So you can, that cemetery soil that we are testing in this kind of run, in this germination run, it does pretty well. There are pieces of wood in it. You know, if you would show that soil to a cactus breeder, if you had shown that soil to me maybe 10 years ago, I would have told you that soil is trash, throw it away. And today, with more years of experience, I have learned how to work with something like that. You know, a good breeder learns how to work with soil that isn't perfect, that has problems. You know, there's wood in these kinds of in this soil, but it doesn't mean you still cannot grow healthy seedlings in it. You know, so it always depends on how you treat it, how much water it gets when it's really starting to rain. That is how you judge the quality of a soil. Not in ideal conditions, but when it's in the worst conditions possible. Because that's when you lose the plants. You lose the plants in winter, when you have like soil that stays wet for 2 months. And when you have that, then you might have to reconsider bringing in more drainage in any form possible, or changing the soil. But right now, the way we're doing it, for sowing out, it works great. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Now we have a problem here. Okay, I'm not sure. Let me show you. I'm not sure if you see it, but over here, this seedling here, it has a little orange tuft to it. I think that seedling like expired. And if you would leave that seedling now, you might lose the whole container. And the others are all healthy. These are healthy seedlings. But if you have a seedling that you lose in between, it can spiral out of control. It can cause a fungal infection, and it takes over the whole container. This can happen in 3 weeks if it's too warm, especially if it's too warm. So we need to remove it. And now, I'm not sure if you see it, but the base has rotted away. This has rotted from the bottom up, and this is kind of fungal. So you need to keep an eye on that. And again, one seedling in the whole batch can be enough to lose the whole container. So always take them out. Always, if you see a problem, fix it right away. Don't wait until it becomes a bigger problem, until it becomes a deal breaker. Fix problems. That is part of life. Fixing problems is part of growing cacti. You will always run into problems. And if you see one, you need to fix it right away. Because when you are gone, you might forget it. The next time you get to that problem, it might already have taken everything over. So the way I walk through the garden is, the first problem that I see, I take care of, no matter what it is. The first problem always gets my attention. And then the second thing that I see gets my attention, I solve it. And if you continue to do that, you kind of, you break the work down into smaller steps. You kind of micromanage. And if you solve every problem right away, it will succeed. You will have no other chance than succeeding long term, because growing cacti also means you just have to solve all the problems that happen. That is just part of life, and it's part of growing anything. You will always stuff will always happen that is unpredictable, and you always need to know how to react to that. And if you do it right away, nothing will bring you down. Nothing will stop you from growing these to adulthood. You just need to not ignore problems, because the moment we start ignoring problems, everything turns into a combined bigger problem. So you have these, you lose track, and then you realize, okay, you already have a few different containers that are full of problems, and then you start to lose hope. You kind of, it gets to you, like knowing all these undealt problems, that you have them in the back of your mind. So don't do it. Do it right away, and you will be happy long term, because you avoid losing the whole container to an avoidable fungal infection. You will always lose the odd seedling here and there. It will always happen. So, but if you take care of it, no problemo. So yeah, here some more. These are the first that we have sown out. Maybe the first time we did sowing out on the channel. And look at them. This is how far we have already come. I'm proud of them already. And I'm proud of everyone who continues to sell out with us, you know. If you want to do that, just do it while we work here. I've sown out a little bit today. Maybe 5 containers. They are very fresh now. So they will go to the heater now. But yeah. If you follow what we do here, you will get to the same results that we do long term. If you have trouble with seedlings, keeping them healthy, just write stuff in the comments, write question in the comments. And if you just want to like have a conversation about, I don't know, God in the world, write it in the comments too. I'm happy to rant off topic. I'm happy to do that just as well, you know. That is how I always want to do that. I intentionally do not limit my stream to just the cactus stuff. It's like we're sitting here and having a nice chat among friends. That's how I want to approach this. And everything we can talk about all these things, you know. So yeah, think I'm ending the chat, like the live stream soon. Because my mother keeps blowing up my phone, asking if if everything's all right. I'm not sure. I told her I'm on stream, but you know how it is. Like they just vary all the time. So yeah, I'll be back for another stream tomorrow or so. I'm not sure when. Maybe later. We will see how it goes. I also consider streaming when we're doing the bathroom window. But it might be too dangerous to do it like with a stream, so maybe not, you know. We'll see. But I'll be back tomorrow. Anyone else, if you want to say anything else before we close the chat, before we close the live stream, do it now. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, and then we will discuss the other seedlings again. Maybe we're sowing out a little bit more. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I consider long-term moving the live stream into another room. We'll see how that goes. Because over here we do not have like the real internet, like the landline internet, you know. So I might have to, because of the bad reception, I might have to move the live stream into another room. So maybe next time I'm trying it from the office, so we will see. But if not, I'll see you here again tomorrow in the next stream, okay? Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it, and I'll be back tomorrow morning, roughly the same time, plus minus an hour. I always got to get the oven started and all that to get the temperature up. So yeah, take care, guys. Thank you for being here. I loved it, like always. And tomorrow we will continue. Thank you, guys.